tonight as we go to Brenden Whitted, my friend, at HU Cosell on Twitter. He is part of the League Pass Lair, one of our NBA analysts, and let's talk about game number one. First of all, how much do you think Golden State's, I don't know how long a layoff it was. It seemed like it was a long layoff. How much do you think the layoff mattered?
I heard Magic Johnson talk about it a little bit pregame, and then at halftime, he felt like were lagging and were a little bit tired. Look, unless the Celtics go on that like historically great, all-time great three-point shooting run, I think Golden State wins that game. And maybe that's an odd hypothetical to throw out there, but I mean, it wasn't just that they were hitting threes. It's Derek White, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford. They combined for 15 of 23 from deep. I mean, those aren't guys that are high volume, all-time great three-point shooters. Celtics got into that drive and kick thing that they absolutely love to do. I thought Golden State maybe overhelped occasionally, but if they're going to, anytime you shoot that sort of number from deep, it's going to change the complexity of a game. And you mentioned how quickly it changed because Golden State had one of those classic Golden State third quarters. They got out, close game at halftime. They got out, outscored, and it felt like, especially at home, it felt like they were going to roll, they were going to finish, and you were going to keep going. And it was interesting because one of the things I wanted to look for was experience. People talk kind of in these larger sorts of kind of in the ethos of, well, they're more experienced and so they'll be better. Well, what does that really mean as it pertains to what we see on the court? And so for what I think of it as is fourth quarters and runs. Like the Celtics got down double digits in the first half and came storming back.
Yep, they
got
did.
down double digits in the second half and came storming back. And this is a team without anybody that's had any sort of significant finals experience, and they were still able to do it. To say nothing of the fact that Udoka, this is his first year overall as a head coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if enough has been made of that. Like, this is a hell of a thing to do in your first year as a head coach. And so I just wanted to look at some of those things. What is that going to look like? I didn't see it at all, and I was specifically surprised to see it on the road from this Boston team.
All right, so here's the other thing. You mentioned the historic night shooting combined from Horford, from Smart, from Derek White. Can't expect that. But the flip side of that is that Jason Tatum is 3 for 17 from the field. Jaylen Brown was relatively inefficient and really only exploded during that 6-minute stretch of the fourth quarter. So to me, that's the water finding its level. They got these great performances out of guys they don't necessarily expect, but they got below what they might expect from their two stars. So I don't know.
I disagree a little bit on Brown, and even a little bit on Tatum. Tatum's not going to shoot that poorly again. That's not going to happen. But he had 7 assists in the first half. And
he had 13 for the game.
This was like the thing that has propelled him into now superstar sort of atmosphere is his decision making. Before, if he was 3 of 17 or having a bad shooting night, that was all you're going to get from him on the offensive end. He's improved as a defender and he's improved as a decision maker. And Golden State didn't do anything in particular with him. He was just kept seeming to find, and I mentioned overhelping a little bit, kept seeming to find the guy open from three. And that's huge even when you're not shooting the ball well. And as far as Brown is concerned, I was really interested to see how he's going to go because Golden State doesn't really have a rim protector. And you saw versus Miami when they went 5 out and there was nobody in the paint. That was him. He was going downhill. He's such an elite athlete that if he gets a little bit of a half a step on you, you need somebody. You need that back rotation guy to give you a little bit of help and help you recover or something because he's going to get right to the cup. Golden State doesn't have that. And as a result, they're unwilling or less willing to play up inside him. Like the thing that Jaylen Brown kind of got exposed for a little bit versus Miami was his handle can get loose. Even in his biggest scoring game, he had 7 or 8 turnovers. Golden State doesn't really have that sort of an on-ball defender, especially as Klay still works his way back from injury. They don't really have that. And so it'll be interesting. I saw that Gary Payton Jr. was available. I don't know if we're going to see him at all, but he was really their best perimeter defender.
Right.
Somebody like him could help a lot on a guy like Jaylen Brown, somebody who's quick and athletic because Golden State, for all of his greatness, they don't really have a ton of those kind of lockdown defenders. Andrew Wiggins is by far the best perimeter defender. He was the primary guy on Luka and did a fantastic job. But if you have two wings like Brown and Tatum, he can't guard both at the same time.
You're right. He can't. Now, maybe he has to guard. Maybe they have a better chance of putting Green on Tatum, although I'm not sure that Green is necessarily a great matchup for Tatum. But you mentioned also Boston's defense. Steph Curry got off to an amazing start, and I want to thank him for the first three of the game. That was plus 250. He got off to a great start. He was 6 of 8 from three-point range in the first quarter. 1 of 6 the rest of the way. What did Boston do? Because Steph looked like he was on course for 60, and he ends up at 35, which certainly isn't terrible. It's not the reason they lost, but they certainly did limit him the rest of the way. What did they do differently?
Smart, I thought, Marcus Smart had one of those little live plug-in things that they do when they mic the player up, and I thought he did a really good job of kind of explaining, hey, you can't just fall straight back into that drop coverage. What Boston was doing defensively was 1 through 4, we're going to just switch everything. At that 5, because it is so difficult for centers to kind of get back out into the space, we're going to drop a little bit. You can't drop all the way back, but and you started to see the Celtics kind of creep up a little bit and kind of deny some of that stuff. Some of it was also the fact that, he was sitting, he got in a little bit of foul trouble, so they pulled him out. That was late in the first. But I think that they just did a better job in the coverages that they were doing. They were able to be a little bit more physical with them. They were and still able to keep him off the free throw line consistently. I thought the Celtics are such a perfect defensive matchup for Golden State, particularly when Golden State does this. And I'm interested to see moving forward how frequently these guys will be on the court together. They have, at any given time, you'll have Draymond Green, Looney, and now Andre Iguodala is back.
Right.
Those are 3 non-shooters. That 2 of them are consistent, and Looney and Draymond are consistently on the court together. That can make them a little bit easier to guard.
Sure.
Even with Klay, even with Poole, it can make them a little bit easier to guard. I'm interested to see how much of that you'll see. If you'll see a little bit more Otto Porter, who has been really, really good for them, made a lot of shots, but is also just defensively a little bit more switchable and a better perimeter player. I think that maybe that's some of the stuff that we'll see to maybe give Steph a little bit more room to work. And again, still ends up with 32, right? It's not like he didn't have a poor game at all, but that's definitely something to look out for and how they kind of respond with that.
We didn't see transcendent Jordan Poole, the guy we had seen earlier in the playoffs. And just to backtrack to Gary Payton, because it raised my eye too when they said he was available. If he's available and doesn't play, then he's not really available. Then to me, he's a decoy. We'll see if he gets some run. Maybe the fact that they have, I believe, 9 days off in between games 1 and 2. I don't understand. Game 1 Thursday, game 2 Sunday. We're not traveling. Let's play. Let's play ball. Let's get this thing going.
I don't remember that happening in previous years. Maybe they're
just doing it for TV. They want the Sunday night. Sunday nights are better than Saturday nights. I get it, and they just didn't want them waiting around, I guess. Friday nights are not necessarily great either. So they wanted. It's all about manipulating the TV ratings. What did you see from before we have to say goodbye? What did you see from Klay Thompson? He looked. Closeout Klay. They could use closeout Klay. They didn't have closeout Klay. So what did you see from him?
Well, they don't have a lot of great ball handlers for Golden State. And so they're able to switch so much of the stuff that they do. And a lot of what Klay is able to get is off of switches. When you'll have a dribble handoff with Draymond or Looney or a back screen or something like that. If you're able to switch everything, a lot of those sorts of opportunities, at least open opportunities, get taken away. And you don't want to see Klay dribble. I saw a lot of Klay really trying to dribble and trying to create his own shot. That's obviously not his game. I think he's added a little bit more to that part of his game, but that's not who Klay Thompson is. That's not who he's been purported to be. I think this just how flexible, how versatile this Celtics defense is. It can give him a little bit of trouble. I wonder if they're going to try to run a few more things specifically for him to get him going early, because Klay is also, he can get as high as fish grease regardless of who's guarding him. And so I wonder if they'll start looking for him a little bit earlier because Steph went crazy and ballistic early, so they try to get in some pick and roll stuff a little bit higher than you might normally see.
You said hotter than fish grease. We had Mark Jones again last night. I'm a big Mark Jones guy. I love Mark Jones. Anytime I can hear hotter than fish grease, it just sounds. Nobody else can use it. I'm glad you did. Real quick, do you still like Golden State in the series, or are you more Boston? Just now that I've seen it, Boston just might be a tough matchup.
Boston is really, really good. Look, if Boston's bench is better than Golden State's, then they will win this series. Derek White going for 21, I believe. Outscoring Poole. That can't happen because they rely on Poole so much for those non-Curry minutes. And non-Curry minutes, they were -3, which is very reasonable. That's a very reasonable number for them. But I still am going to go with Golden State. And there's not any one particular thing that I point to other than the fact that I don't think that the Celtics are going to shoot at that clip for the rest of the time. I can see Steph playing that way again. I can see Poole playing better or Klay playing better. They put up, I mean, the 3-point shooting numbers that they put up. If they're able to shoot that way, then they're going to beat everyone that's ever played. Correct. But I just don't think that's going to happen again. Now, what the scary part is that they were able to shoot that way on the road. You usually don't get that sort of production from tertiary players on the road. They did, and so maybe that's them still in the game. They now have home court advantage. I'm gonna still go with Golden State, but the Celtics obviously are they couldn't have asked for a better start to this series.
Golden State is now plus money on if somebody wanted to jump in now. I might do that.
Yeah, I might. I mean, don't tip me. Don't tip me, go.
Brenden Whitted, the League Pass Lair, at HU Cosell on Twitter. Thank you very much, my friend. See you very soon. Talk to you later.
Appreciate it.